have another guest.
Yeah, this is David Bergeron from Beauport Hearing Care, just a couple doors down.
David
Good
Bergeron.
morning.
Lovely
Good to see you.
again.
It's nice to be here.
Thanks for doing
Thanks
this.
for
So
asking
speak
me.
directly into the mic
Okay.
so we can get your
Hello,
audio.
everybody.
Yeah. So, why don't you just a quick word about what Beauport Hearing is all about?
Okay, Beauport Hearing Care is holistic hearing health. All right. We're a hearing instrument practice. That means we provide hearing aids and we do hearing testing. And Judy is also
This is your wife, Judy Bergeron, yeah?
Judy is my wife. She's the specialist,
Yeah.
Judy Hodge Bergeron. And she's a tinnitus care provider. So there are things you can do for tinnitus. The first thing is to get evaluated and come in and talk about what's going on, because there are many different causes for tinnitus.
And that's ringing in the ear.
Ringing or noise in the ear, yes. Yeah. So we do hearing amplification, that means hearing aids. We do oral rehabilitation, because hearing is about the brain as well as the ear. So, and everyone's here, you know, everyone's hearing is like a fingerprint. It's unique, right? The audiogram tells you some of the story, but not the whole story.
Right.
So we work with each person and help them with amplification, and then we coach them with social strategies, and we have programs for auditory training, because you can practice hearing better. Believe it or not, you can improve your hearing
Really?
by
Like,
practicing.
How?
Yes.
Okay, you have to explain that because I'm interested in that. Too many rock and roll shows for me. This one.
Well, first you want to protect your hearing, okay? So that is avoid the loud noise, okay? Sustained loud noise especially.
She has me in this ear now.
And then you want to eat right, because we're finding out too that underlying all of our neurological things is our environmental issues, and the food that we eat is very important. Food is like medicine, so it does affect. And you know, there are some longitudinal studies showing that a good, healthy diet will reduce your chances of age-related hearing loss down the line by 30%.
And you mean whole grains, vegetables, you know, whole foods?
Whole food, organic, whole foods, very important. Exercise, you know, stay socially engaged. Staying socially engaged is very important for brain health. And if you're not hearing too well, it's hard to stay socially engaged.
Right.
Well, now, I'm
Right,
going to
so-
how do you end up landing here in Magnolia on Lexington Avenue?
How did we get here?
Yeah. And why? Like, what? So, like, because this neighborhood's working for you.
It is. And
With
a
all
lot
the
of
wellness, we just had Kim
Yeah.
Sardo
Right.
on talking about the illness. This
So
is
that's
another
gonna be
one.
But
exciting.
I want to answer the question
Oh, yeah.
about what do you do. So we have
Right.
exercises. We have a computer-based
Yeah.
programs, and you can practice listening and to rapid speech. And the program will practice with you. It'll practice short-term memory. So we have that. So that's one of the ways that we help. So there are different exercises and games to help improve your auditory processing. All right. So why did we choose Magnolia?
yeah.
Magnolia. Well, it was about over 4 years ago. We just drove by and we saw the opening, but it's such a beautiful place. But we also noticed that there's other businesses on the street opening up that are related to health and wellness. So, and since we moved here, there's been more and more businesses coming on that support health and wellness
Right.
across a lot of different areas. And so there are 9 businesses now that have come together, and we're calling ourselves Wellness on Lexington. So Beauport Hearing Care is just one of the 9 practices.
So I have a question about hearing aids, because sometimes you notice that a friend or a family member that might not necessarily be too old, but is having trouble hearing, and they might need a hearing aid. So how do you go about talking to them, like a young person or younger, older person? I'm not talking about someone who's 90. I'm talking about like maybe a 60-year-old or someone who's having trouble, and hearing aids are often poo-pooed by saying, "Oh, that's for somebody older. I don't need those yet." How can someone engage?
It's
and
a
help
really good question, and everyone's asking that question because we know that hearing is such an important issue. Dementias and Alzheimer's are advancing very quickly. So, and hearing is a component of that. So we want to, you know, what can we do to prevent these things from happening before they happen? So the advice is from the research that you need to pay attention to your hearing when you're younger, right? You really, even when you're a child, you want to protect your good hearing. That means healthy diet, okay, and stay away from the loud noise. Those are the main things. For earplugs, right? If you can't avoid the loud noise, you want to get hearing protection. And today you can get custom fit hearing protection. It'll fit snugly right in your ear canal, and you can put filters in there so that you can hear normal speech but filter out the loud, excessively loud sounds that are harmful. So those are the things you can do. So starting earbud, well, you want to be careful about that because the volume, there doesn't seem to be volume control on a lot of these devices, and people are listening too loud. This is one of the suspicions for young people, to avoid the excessive volume with the earbuds. So for young people, it's about hearing protection. Avoid the noise, eat healthy, and get earplugs if you can't avoid. But in your people are starting to lose their hearing very gradually in their 20s and 30s. 1 in 5 teenagers has a permanent hearing loss today.
That was me.
So, and we think it's the two causes. We think it's the excessive loud noise, probably playing too loud music in your ears.
Yeah, Walkmans came out when I was a teenager.
And then, of course, a healthy diet. So those are the two things. But when we get into our 30s and 40s, we really should test our hearing regularly. Right. And attend to it if there's starting to be a loss, because you don't realize how much you're missing. You lose it gradually over years. So you really don't notice that you're not hearing the birds anymore. You don't notice that you're not hearing the crickets anymore. Right. And you don't realize that you're misunderstanding your companion's speech, and they're saying something, and you think they're talking about something else, and it can at times be very funny.
Right.
And other times, not very funny at all.
Well, and we also want to point out that, go ahead, Dave.
So we address a lot of social strategies along those lines about how to make sure you don't miss. And just because somebody gets a hearing aid doesn't mean they're not going to miss something. I mean, we all miss things, even if we have normal hearing.
True.
So the social strategies are good for everyone, no matter how they hear, right?
Well,
how well.
And I was saying that we want to raise a glass to you and your wife, Judy, because you do a lot of volunteer work. You do a lot of free hearing tests for people. You work very closely with the veterans groups here and churches and whatnot. So, I mean, hats off to you.
The Starkey Hearing Foundation.
Yeah, which is
wonderful.
Wonderful.
Wonderful organization.
Yeah. Thank you.
So if people want to learn more about Beauport Hearing Care, how can they do that, David?
Well, we're
Walk
right here.
over.
Come on down to Sherry's for lunch and make an appointment right next door.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody on Magnolia just loves Sherry's Corner Cafe.
That's great.
So we're right next to it. So all you have to do is find Sherry, and we're right here. Make an appointment. Give us a call. We're on the web at beauporthearing.com.
Well, David,
and
thank you
also
so much.
on Facebook.
Yeah, we appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks
popping
for
by.
Happy to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much for all that
Have a
really
great
informative
day.
information.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
All right, we'll be in touch soon, David. David Bergeron, Beauport Hearing Care, 8 Lexington Avenue in Magnolia. And thanks again for your time, David.
So you're